Number 1. Alice and Victor bond over making banana pudding. During this plot, Alice revealed she cracked the parental controls for the TV. Hey yo, what is Alice watching? Number 2. The writers gave Ivy and Neil a heartwarming scene like Brooke and Ivy's from episode 4. It wasn't as good as episode 4, it was just okay. Number 3. I think Neil can see ghosts like his mother. After that warm-hearted scene, Big Larry, a new character introduced in the episode, is seen crying. Ivy was wondering how long has he been standing there, and Neil was happy to know he wasn't imagining it. Now sure, Big Larry wasn't a ghost, but I like to think that this has happened to him in the past, where he didn't see people and he saw spirits. Number 4. Booker finishes a 6-year gag. I'm always saying, why don't they lock the doors? Well now, it's been confirmed as to why. Booker has always been the one to leave the door unlocked. That's why Tess would be able to come in, and that's why Ivy and Neil were able to walk in as well.
Why would I lock it? Then how would all our friends just walk right in?
Just like I said for the Tanner household, I'm surprised they weren't robbed or kidnapped at this point. Number 5. No mentioning of Victor getting healthy. I give the episode a 6.9 out of 10. Now let's move on to episode 14. Number 1. We see Victor being a schoolroom parent set up in episode 5. I wish they would have acknowledged Raven not being able to be there. Number 2. Raven tried canceling her membership when talking to the producers of Raven's Home. My bad. House of Raven. I don't know why Raven would try to cancel her gym membership when that was her story to not only helping Victor get healthy, which was not referenced by the way, but explain why her parents was different from seasons 1 through 4. I mean, I guess now that she's at the desirable look that she wants, there's no reason to go anymore. Number 3. So Nikki was jealous about Emily being a better assistant than her. Okay. I'm not feeling bad for Nikki at all, and y'all know why. I was on Emily's side up until she went crazy trying to replace Raven. Plus, just because she went crazy doesn't mean I went to Nikki's side. As I said before, there is a way to have Nikki act the way she does, but done in a lovable way. A good example is The Nanny, where she wasn't your typical nanny, but you still enjoyed her on how she did things, and Nikki is not that.
Maybe that's the problem. You don't appreciate the fact that you get to work with Raven Baxter.
That's not true. I'm rarely at work.
Then I guess no one would miss you.
Number 4. So Bree returns, and I now figured out what character she sort of reminds me of, and that is Larry, Corey Baxter's friend. All you need to do is take out him being a musician stuff. I wish it was Paige instead of Bree being in that episode, but Bree is fine. I say Paige because there hasn't been a resolution to the whole doing the test thing from season 5, episode 14, where Alice secretly wanted Dylan for herself, knowing Paige had a thing for Dylan. Plus, Paige's annoyance would be a whole lot funnier to seeing Alice and Dylan fighting, and to see do Piper and Swain have good acting chemistry. Number 5. Booker says Alice, Bree, and Dylan reminds them of him, Ivy, and Neil. I don't necessarily see it, mostly because we didn't get that much screen time of Bree. Regardless, Alice has 2 versions of groups. Alice, Paige, and Ernie, who are Raven, Chelsea, and Eddie, with Dylan being Devon. Then Alice, Bree, and Dylan, who are the new versions of
Booker and the Bookettes.
Booker, Ivy, and Neil. Let me know if you agree to any of that. Number 6. Raven knows wrestling moves, and I wonder, does she prefer AEW or WWE? I mean, it's not going to be Impact. Impact. Nobody really watches that show. Number 7. Allison Scagliotti was in this episode as she played an event coordinator. If you don't know who Allison is, well, she played Minnie Crenshaw, her most notable role. I also know her as she appeared in Smallville as one of the Wonder Twins. I'll be honest, I didn't realize she was still acting, but it is good to know. She did a good job in the role she was given, as this is totally a one-off appearance, though I would love if she came back. Anyway, I give the episode a 6 out of 10. Now let's move on to episode 15. Number 1. Booker mentions the vice principal. With Adrian Balin not being in season 6, this was a good way to keep a principal on the show. Speaking of principals, I meant to do this anytime last year, and that is re-ranking the principals. But nothing has really changed, except for Alana is now in the front. Though, I kind of want to keep Christopher T. Wood as Principal Jones as number 1, because he was a great principal. For Alana, while she is great as well, It was really for her being Alana, not being a principal, if that makes any sense. Number 2, Ivy can sing now. For me, it just feels random, but knowing Disney, it must be a requirement. Number 3, Booker gets a vision of Kuda standing Ivy up at prom. And so Booker and Neil try not to make Ivy feel left out with their dates, Zora and Andy. Andy is the girl who likes Neil, who I left out during my episode 12 review on purpose. Ivy does find out what happened, and they explain the situation, and is happy what they did for her. Ivy then runs into Kuda without his mask, and reveals he was nervous and shy. His name is Barry Jeff. How does this guy got 2 first names as his name? So Barry, Kuda, Jeff? Number 4, Neil says they need to start expanding their friend group. Well, I agree. One of those people could have been Liam. Number 5, they show Victor getting healthy. In a way. He was taking Alice snacks to the table, and he had to start dodging and weaving the students. And he was tired when getting there, saying to Alice her VR was going to put him in the ER. Number 6, Evelyn, Dark Soul, and Big Larry were together at prom. I guess Ivy was wrong about Evelyn and Kuda having chemistry after all. Number 7, y'all might have disagreed with me with Paige not being episode 14, but she definitely should have been in this one. Alice was having a sleepover, and she didn't invite her best friend? Come on. Maybe Paige was with Sarah. This could lead into my Sarah versus Alice feud theory. Number 8, they say Neil's last name for the first time, which is indeed Flores. Number 9, Raven had a small role in the episode as she went to Los Angeles, but she really wanted to stay for Booker's prom. However, Booker insisted she really go, as this is a big opportunity. Towards the end of the episode, she does return as she didn't want to miss it. Speaking of prom, I wonder what Nia's was like. There was a couple lines in there. I feel they could have thrown her name in there, but they didn't. I wonder who Nia went with. Now, she could have gone with Wyatt, who was the last person she was dating before she stopped being on the show. But I'm gonna go with the much better option, Miles, because I feel those two had a better connection. So, Nia broke up with Wyatt and got back together with Miles. Number 10, Vivian Baxter, or just Vivian, since we don't know her last name, was mentioned for the first time. But it wasn't by her actual name, but by Victor saying mother-in-law. Just like Tanya back in season 5, they say all types of ways to say Tanya's name without actually saying Tanya, who wasn't referenced, by the way. Bree had smashed the vase Vivian had given to Victor, but he says he'd been wanting to do that for years. This sucks for the Tanya side of the family. Raven lost that bowl Tanya gave her in season 4 episode 1, and then this vase. How much y'all want to bet Vivian saw this coming? I mean, she can't see into the future as her power is much stronger than Raven's and Booker's. So imagine this scenario. Vivian comes over and talks to Victor and says, "Hey, where's my vase? I put it away." I know Alice's friend did it, even though it was an accident. So you're not mad? No, I'm mad at you. I'm mad you've been wanting to do that yourself for years. I could see into the future, and hearing that, it broke my heart. Vivian saw it coming the day she gave it to him or made it for him, but she was hoping the future would change. In a past review, which was season 6, episode 8, I almost went into how they could develop Booker's vision power. Well, I've decided after season 6, and if they confirm season 7, I'm going to talk about how they could develop Raven and Booker's vision power. I have some ideas. So, let's grade this sucker, which is a 7 out of 10. I prefer last year's prom. They built up to it, and they had a vision connected with it. Those two could have easily been mutually exclusive. I'm happy Alana kept the prom thing going, but where was her daughter Cammy at? If she was there, she definitely would have won prom queen. But with that being said, one more thing. I recently just heard this, but apparently Disney has now banned this episode, all because Raven was twerking and dancing at the prom at the end of the episode, which is stupid. They should put a PG label on it if they are so insecure about it, because imagine if this episode was cut. It would ruin the prom build, and you would notice that something was cut. Raven doing the twerking and dancing with Booker telling her to leave because he's feeling embarrassed made lots of people laugh, including myself. There was no harm done. Now, with that being said, give it your fingers up as we say it with, wait for it, me. Bye.